find the domain and range given by this graph right here. Okay, so we see an arrow on this side. Okay, remember what the arrow means, right? The arrow means that this line, or the part of the graph, just keeps extending forever this way. Okay, and on this end we see a closed circle. Okay, so how are we going to determine then the domain and the range of this graph? All right, so what I like to do is I like to draw my pencil as we go left to right, right? Domain represents all x values, so we want to go left to right. But, okay, well, wait a minute. What about this guy? What does the arrow mean? Okay, now we don't need to draw this out, but okay, the arrow means that the graph essentially just keeps extending out this way, right? Which means, well, if you think about it, right, every x value will be accounted for, right? Every x value will be accounted for that way. And then as we move along the graph, right, every x value is accounted for here. We see right, each point here will have some x coordinate, right? That's what this means. That's what we're doing. We're trying to find all the x values represented on the graph. So every x value will be accounted for up until this guy right there. Okay, so how do we represent this arrow, right? That means, well, this graph just keeps moving on forever in the negative infinity direction. So the domain will be all x values starting from negative infinity up till 1. And here, for the 1, we need a bracket because that's a closed circle. We do include that point in the domain. Right? So every x value between negative infinity and 1 is in the domain. For the range, those are all the y values, right? We need to go bottom to top, okay? As you draw your pen or pencil or your finger, wait a minute, there's no y, there's no part of the graph down here, okay? Actually, the smallest y value represented is this guy right here, right? So that will be the smallest y value represented on the graph. And okay, every part here, right? Every point here has some y value, right? Every point here has some y value. Okay, wait a minute. Well, what does this arrow mean? Well, the arrow means that, well, we just keep moving on forever, right? So same thing, right? Every y value will be accounted for in the positive infinity direction. Okay, so what is the range then? Okay, the smallest y value is 0, and everything is accounted for up until we reach positive infinity. Remember, with infinity, negative infinity as well, right? We always use parentheses, right? Yeah, so for this particular graph, this will be the domain and the range.